Hello, and welcome to this first ever episode all about the First World War. My name is Gabrielle McMaster. I am an author and historian, and today we're going to be looking at the outbreak of the First World War. Within this, we will be looking at the situation in Europe. We will also be looking at how one single event led to the deaths of millions of people. And of course, this was the First World War. So within Europe at the time, we had the three cousins, or to some people, it was also the three emperors. We had Tsar Nicholas II of Russia, King George V of Britain, and Kaiser Wilhelm of Germany. Now these three, if you ever see a photo of them, do look quite alike. However, the two that look the most alike are Tsar Nicholas II and King George V. Their facial features are so very alike that people actually find it difficult to tell the two of them apart. But one thing that I learnt from someone as to how to tell them all apart is their moustaches. So, Kaiser Wilhelm's moustache points up the ways, King George's points slightly down the ways, and Tsar Nicholas's points slightly out the ways. And that is one of the sneaky ways that you can actually tell these three cousins apart. Now at the time, of course, there was an awful lot of tension between these people. But it was not enough to actually start a whole world war. But one event did eventually lead to this, and this is, of course, the event that happened in Sarajevo. And this is the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria and his wife Sophie. This was carried out by the Black Hand Gang, and the Black Hand Gang was a Serbian group, and they did not like the involvement of Austria in Bosnia. And they decided that this public appearance was going to be the perfect place to stage their opinion on this matter. And this was, of course, to kill the Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife. The Black Hand Gang stood in the crowd waiting to strike, and some of them did try to strike and they missed. A man called Gavrilo Princip jumped out from the crowd and shot these two dead with a pistol shot. Now, of course, at the time, no one actually thought this was going to lead to a whole world war. It seemed a very isolated event within Europe itself. However, that was not the case, and a bit like anything that happens, people take sides. And this was exactly what was seen within Europe at the time. We had all the countries of the world taking sides in this, specifically within Europe. So we'll start off with Germany, and Germany took the side of Austria. And at the exact same time, Russia took the side of Serbia. Russia were actually first to mobilise its troops on the border of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and Germany thought that this was just a little bit aggressive and perhaps they should maybe do something about this for Austria's sake. But Germany knew it had one major problem, and that was actually where they are situated in Europe. So if you look at any map, Germany are slap bang in the middle of Europe. So they knew that to attack Russia on the east, they also had to attack France on the west to avoid fighting a war on two fronts. In hindsight, of course, we know that this did not work out, and they did eventually end up fighting a war on the two fronts. So Germany decided they were going to implement the Schlieffen Plan. So the Schlieffen Plan stated that what was going to happen was Germany were going to go up through Belgium and down into France, essentially using Belgium as the back door to attack France. They thought the Schlieffen Plan would ensure this quick and decisive victory, and of course that was not the case, as we do know. So they decided to declare war on Russia. 2 days later, after declaring war on Russia, Germany declared war on France on the 3rd of August 1914. Hours after this, Eventually, France declared war on Germany and began to mobilise its troops to fight for France. On the 4th of August 1914, Britain declares war on Germany, and this came as an awful shock to a lot of people. And the reason for this was, of course, that they did not expect Britain to fight this war, because they didn't know why Britain should, because Germany had not invaded them. But what the ordinary people of Britain did not understand at the time was that Britain had formed a pact with Belgium that stated that if a country was to invade Belgium, Britain would fight on their behalf, because Belgium wanted to remain neutral. Now, once this happened and Germany stepped foot into Belgium, Britain had to declare war on Germany, which started the First World War off in Britain. One country not mentioned is, of course, America. America entered the war in what a lot of people would say quite late. They entered the war in 1917, 3 years almost after it had started. At the time, Woodrow Wilson did not want to get involved in this war, but he was sending aid to Britain and France to help them. The American people wanted Woodrow Wilson to actually get involved fully in this war and were more than prepared for him to declare war on Germany. However, he did not. And a lot of people say the sinking of the Lusitania in 1915 was the cause of Woodrow Wilson declaring war on Germany. This was once again not the case, because the Lusitania sank in 1915 and America declared war in 1917. So something else had to have happened, because it would not have taken 2 years for America to decide that they wanted to declare war on Germany. What ended up happening was that Germany sent a telegram to Mexico, and this telegram was called the Zimmermann telegram. And within the Zimmermann telegram, it stated that Germany wanted Mexico's help. They wanted to form an alliance with Mexico to declare war on America. And if they won, they would give America a little division, with some going to either side. And America intercepted this before Mexico ever received it. And it was decided then that the war was getting a little bit too close to home, so they decided to declare war on Germany. Now, America probably entered at just about the right time to actually help the war effort, and Britain and France really needed America at this stage to win the war with them. And without America, who knows what would have happened. But of course, America entering came just at the right time. One of the other countries not actually mentioned is Ireland. Ireland deserves a whole video all to itself. Ireland was extremely divided at this time, and I will be doing a whole episode all about Ireland and World War I. Because, of course, just to give you a quick summary, Ireland was extremely divided. Some wished to go to war as they seen it fighting for the British Crown. Some did not want to go to war because they seen it as fighting for the British Crown. And to understand these opinions, you need to understand the whole Home Rule crisis and the situation of Unionists and Nationalists at the time. So that will be a whole other episode, so do stay tuned for it. At this stage, as we're wrapping up the outbreak of the First World War, I think it's about time that I tell you one of the weirdest facts I have come across in my research. Because when I was looking into the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, I actually spotted one of the weirdest coincidences in history. And it is actually to do with the outbreak of the war, the assassination of the Archduke Franz Ferdinand, but it is also to do with the armistice at the time. So when the Archduke was assassinated in his car, the license plate on his car read A 111118. Some people see this as standing for A for armistice, the 11th of the 11th month, 1918. This is by far one of the weirdest coincidences, and I would like for you to make up your mind as to what you think about this. You can either agree it is a coincidence, or perhaps maybe history is all planned and all these events are meant to happen. Did anyone at the time perceive this to have been the date that the war would end that this event caused? Absolutely not. But of course, this did eventually end up being a coincidence that not many people spotted until years down the line. So you can either make up your mind that yes, this was just a coincidence, or perhaps not, perhaps it was all predictable. Some reasonable people would tell you that, in fact, history is all a coincidence and these things just pop up every once and again. Other people may tell you that maybe it is all predicted, but you can make up your mind about this. So if you enjoyed this episode all about the outbreak of the First World War and just a brief history and overview of the matter, then please do subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode all about the First World War once again. And of course, we will be including some other history within there, such as the Second World War, Ireland, and maybe some film history as well. So please do stay tuned for that, and I hope you enjoy it.